Pearson Sharp.
They said he couldn't do it, but Trump is about to pull the plug on World War III. And that's after Biden spent the last 3 years trying to get it started. Now, this is far from a done deal. There's still a lot of work ahead, but it's a hell of a lot better than the brink of nuclear war Biden had us on. It's a tough situation to follow because things are changing every day, and peace talks are ongoing, so at any moment something major could happen. But regardless of the details, the bigger picture is that support for the phony war is gone, and things need to change fast. Of course, Ukraine has come to the table begging for a solution. They're totally out of options. Their only ace in the hole was the United States and our slavish cadre of warhawks in servitude of the juggernaut military-industrial complex that always hungers and never sleeps. Now, I know this is a complex geopolitical issue that a lot of very intelligent people struggle with, so I thought I'd have my 3-year-old daughter break it down for you.
That's not America. That's America.
There, does that clear things up? All you lefties out there should be taking notes. What this means is that we should not be taking sides in a war that has nothing to do with us. Ukraine and Russia's history goes back over 1,000 years to the Kievan Rus and the Viking era. None of that has a single damn thing to do with the United States of America. Although a ceasefire seems like an obvious win for all sides, Russia's gonna need some lovin'. Duh. Alexander Dugin, the brilliant Russian philosopher and political analyst I had the privilege of speaking with last year, warned that this ceasefire is nothing more than a trap. It's designed to freeze the conflict long enough for Ukraine to regroup, rearm, and come back stronger with NATO's full backing. And he's right. Russia has all the cards, and they know it, which means for Putin to agree, the terms need to be heavily in his favor. Because let's face it, Ukraine is crumbling. They have no military to speak of. Their biggest donor just backed out, and they're losing territory faster than my daughter can draw the borders of their map. Zelensky's day in the sun is over. No one wants this war. Russia doesn't. Ukraine definitely doesn't. Families are tired of having their sons kidnapped to fight for globalist overlords. And the United States is sick of bankrolling a manufactured conflict that has nothing to do with us. And just to clear things up, Putin does not want to take over Europe. That's a leftist fairy tale meant to scare you into sending even more than the $200 billion we've already wasted defending another country's borders while ours are left wide open. Putin knows he doesn't have the manpower to tackle Europe. His goals have been clear from the start. Get rid of the neo-Nazi elements in Ukraine, reclaim the regions that voted overwhelmingly to rejoin Russia, and keep Ukraine out of NATO. All reasonable demands to any thinking, sane person. Remember, at the end of the Cold War, the US and Western leaders promised Gorbachev that NATO wouldn't move 1 inch eastward. And then we shredded that promise as fast as we could and marched NATO right up to Russia's doorstep, adding 16 new countries to the alliance.
This is not an attack by Putin on Ukraine in the way that we are told every day. This started in 1990, February 9th, 1990. James Baker III, our Secretary of State, said to Mikhail Gorbachev, NATO will not move 1 inch eastward if you agree to German unification, basically ending World War II. And Gorbachev said, that's very important. Yes, NATO doesn't move, and we agreed to German unification. The US then cheated on this, already starting in 1994, when Clinton signed off on basically a plan to expand NATO all the way to Ukraine.
But sure, Russia is the aggressor here. We put missiles on their border, military bases at their doorstep, and then we act shocked when Putin responds. Yes, Putin invaded Crimea, a region that was part of Russia historically for nearly 200 years before Russia voluntarily gave it to Ukraine in 1954. The people there? Russian. Historically, culturally, linguistically, I mean, they voted to rejoin Russia, for crying out loud. Aren't liberals always telling us we have to respect the democratic process?
Democracy endures only if we, the people, accept the results of free and fair elections.
Same with Luhansk and Donetsk. Russian through and through, ruled by Russia for centuries and firmly in Moscow's sphere of influence since the 1700s. And they voted to join Russia.
Free and fair elections.
And I want to point out, I've been to Ukraine, okay? I admit that doesn't make me an expert on all things Ukrainian, but I'm willing to bet I know a hell of a lot more than these legacy media armchair generals acting like this is our generation's World War II. I traveled all around Ukraine in 2016 and no one cared about Putin. And this wasn't even in the East, mind you, but in the West. I talked to locals everywhere, even in Kiev, and the attitude was basically, let Russia have Donetsk and Luhansk. Everyone there is Russian anyway. Same with Crimea. No one cared because they're Russian. Now, I'm sure things have changed a bit since then. War tends to do that. But that was my experience. If you don't agree, you can head over to Ukraine and talk to the locals yourself. And by the way, not that long ago, Ukraine was ranked as the most corrupt nation in Europe. One of the most corrupt in the world, right up there with Brazil and Colombia. This is the country we're supposed to defend as some sort of beacon of democracy? Now, brass tacks, Putin isn't going to stop while he's ahead. That's why this will be a tough nut for Trump to crack. But he's coming at it like a businessman. How does everyone walk away winning? Well, a couple of ways. The US stops funding the war. Period. We get mineral rights in Ukraine to recoup some of our losses. Russia keeps Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk, territories that are already theirs in everything but name. On top of that, maybe we also shut down our illegal secret bioweapons labs in Ukraine. That'd be a nice start. And for Ukraine? Well, Ukraine gets to keep existing. They'll need new elections, and yeah, it'll probably end up being a pro-Russian leader, or at least someone who's not a Soros-backed New World Order sock puppet, but that's the price of survival. Bottom line, this is a fake globalist war cooked up by Davos billionaires using every ingredient designed to destroy Western civilization. If we don't pull the plug on this now, they'll drag us into World War III faster than Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio went up after backing defense contractors. That's my take. What's yours? Do you think we should stop funneling billions into Ukraine and start putting America first? Or do you still think that this is a fight for democracy just because the corporate press told you so? Let me know in the comments below. Stay free, stay safe, and stay sharp.